This episode is sponsored by Coconut Casual, a Black-owned lifestyle brand focused on positively impacting our globe by promoting female empowerment. It's all love at Coconut Casual. And remember, if it's for us and by us, then support us. What's up, guys? It's your girl Jamia Zarzuela, the political poet, and welcome to Poetry, Prose, and Politics. When you hear random facts spewed, such as from 1882 to 1968, 4,743 people were lynched and 72.8 were Black, do you feel detached because you can only capture the number? What if you knew that in 1892, year America saw the most strange fruit hanging? When you hear them naming another victim on the news, when murder has 1 million views on your timeline, I wonder if there's a difference, if there's a change, or if we grew past 1892. For today's episode, I brought one of my good friends, fellow political science majors, and soon-to-be law student Alexis Smith. Not only does she demand a change, but she wants to be it by bursting through the doors that Barbara Jordan once opened when she became the first Black female senator of Texas. Without further ado, here's episode 2 of the Anxiety series, 1892. Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, the reason why I wanted to talk about that, like I said, is because I'm comparing the fact that I feel anxiety from this thought that I have, right? I'm jogging down the street and my neighbors don't know that they're my neighbors and they chase me. Right. Or I'm in Walmart and out of nowhere there's a gunman. Or my child is playing with a water gun and for whatever reason the cop doesn't recognize that it's in fact just not a toy gun, really, just a water gun. It's not even like pellets. It's water. And it's the summertime, and that's what a little boy is supposed to do. So I can't say that maybe it is comparable, but I feel like, with social media, continuously, even with George Floyd, I remember I was on looking at the news when I was watching it, and then they brought up Tamir Rice's death. They brought up Trayvon Martin's death. And it's like this repeat of this, cutting of that or reopening that wound that you thought was closed that wasn't closed. And it's like, well, damn, I'm not over this. And it's affecting me more. Right. How has, continuously seeing even it being repeated, but new cases of Black injustices that's been going on from cops from people that just see us as inferior to them.
Right. I think, I don't know. I can definitely see how the Black community is, like how you said, you can be in Walmart and just think, oh my gosh, am I going to get, somebody going to come behind me and stab me, kill me? Is a police officer going to have this random warrant, and I'm just trying to enter my apartment? So I think that just facing literally centuries in this nation of just bad news all the time, I think that a lot of us probably have anxiety. Maybe I have anxiety and I don't know it because I'm just so, this is the norm for me in America, right? Black people being killed is becoming the right. If I turned on CNN right now and another black boy got killed, I wouldn't be surprised, right? I wouldn't be shook. And to a point, I don't want to say that.
Should that be normalized though?
No, it shouldn't be normalized. But that's the thing. It's so prevalent that I think truly when something happens to you over and over and over and over, like when I first hop in the shower and the hot water's hot, I can feel it. But when I stay in that shower a little longer, it doesn't feel so hot.
Just like a frog in boiling water, and that frog will literally die because they continue to adjust to the temperature to the point that they get cooked in the boiling water. But then that leaves you with this fact that Black people deal with, and I say Black people, and I don't want to, disconnect or act as if other minorities aren't attached to this truth. So if you are, always know that Anchor.fm does allow you to leave a message so that you can join in on the conversation. But when I say Black people, I specifically mean Black I'm saying Black because I'm a Black person. I'm that Black person that sees a cop. I'm not sure do you do this? You see a cop when you're driving down the street and you're like, I know I don't even smoke weed, but I'm scared that he's going to pull me over. And so, like, for a fact that you didn't do anything wrong, but like the thought that...
you're Black. That's wrong. That's the thing. Black is wrong in America.
In America.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
So with that said, these days I struggle with this thing between like staying informed and completely detaching, disconnecting, unplugging myself from the world. How do you, as a person that studies politics as much as I do, even probably more so, studies law, how do you balance what makes you so angry and deal with the hurt of it, even though it's your passion?
I think I went through a couple of years where I really just was angry. I was angry, maybe 15 through like 18. I would talk about politics and I couldn't talk about it like this. I'd be screaming. I'd be, no, you're right. This doesn't make right. So I think I went through those couple of years of growth where now I'm at a point where that passion is still there, but I know how to direct it in the right light. So like, how we all get mad when we see shootings and people dying, but people like you and I, we go to the polls and then we vote. So I think it just has to do with channeling that energy and using it,
as a tool to drive you further. And speaking on the fact that we as Black people, we channel that energy and we try to find creative ways. I feel like Black people are the most resourceful people. Yeah. I'm Black, so of course I'm going to feel that way. But I feel like we're just the most resourceful people. You're talking about, Eric Gardner said, I can't breathe. So what do? We put on a shirt and we peacefully protest. And that shirt says, I can't breathe. That's it.
Right.
And that drives someone insane. Yeah. We say, okay, you know what? I'm going to kneel for the ones that have fallen, for the people that didn't deserve to die. And that also drives people insane. Right. And then you say, well, I'm just going to protest. I'm going to march.
Right.
I see, these people that are upset with, the fact that they have to wear a mask or they feel, X, Y, and Z. They don't want to have to quarantine.
Right.
And so I'm going to protest too. And they get heated that I say Black Lives Matter. Yeah. When I'm saying that, my Black life mattering doesn't mean that your life is any less than mine. It's just that, like I said in the last episode with my aunt, I forget where I heard this from, but I heard something that, America pushes this dream of life, liberty, and happiness, and Black people are still working on life. And so that's where this idea of Black Lives Matter comes from. And it's just like, how do you navigate through, okay, I did this, and now I'm going to just burn down the precinct like they did.
Yeah.
And what was it, North Carolina?
I'm not sure. I think. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah. So like with that being said, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I tell people, well, especially in our age group, since, we're the same age, I tell people, well, go vote.
Right.
And then they say, well, my voice doesn't matter. So it's just like, how do we, because you and I definitely believe in voting.
Right.
How do you, like, what is it that you say to your friends when they tell you that?
Ooh, I usually get very upset. I say words that I wouldn't say here on this podcast. But for the most part, I just try to inform them. Like, what do you mean that your voice doesn't matter, right? Or that voting doesn't matter?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to get involved. Go look at some of the policies. Sure, not everyone I'm voting for has every single little thing that I want on the list, but damn, give me 2 things, give me 3 things, or at least go with a politician where you know that you can actually build upon, right? Like, I'm just to touch on the presidency, obviously, I'm not excited to vote for Joe Biden, but I will vote for Joe Biden.
It's not like
I have a duty.
And it's not like we're going to say, yeah, because Kanye is black, go vote for Kanye.
Yeah,
no. We're not saying that. Well, why? Because Kanye hasn't given us what policies or what his view on policies are. Right. He hasn't given us what he's going to do for this country. He hasn't done that. So because he hasn't done that, I can't. Now, if Kanye did, then maybe I could possibly. But you're talking about the reason why our country is in the poll that it's in, the reason why we as Americans cannot even travel to another country. Did you know that? We can't even travel to another country because we haven't quarantined.
Oh, because right now? Yeah, I know.
So I just got my passport and it's for naught. So with that being said, it's like, yeah, I just got it too, and it's it was $200, and I was just like, "Ooh, that could have went to school, right? Legit, it could have went to school, but I can't even. My passport is for nothing and we're in a position because of our president, and our president is a TV star. He's he was on a. What is it even called?
You're fired.
Reality TV. Yeah, like he was a reality TV star that is $1 billion in debt, and that's who we put in the office.
Right.
I'm not saying go vote for just anyone, and I'm not saying vote for them because they're black, but I'm saying how can we expect as a people, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, how can we expect for someone to do something for us when we haven't even told them what it is that we want them to do, nor have we even knocked on their door to tell them that we even wanted them to do it.
Right.
In fact, we say, I'm not even going to do that because they're not going to listen. Well, how? Again, I get that it's so frustrating that we've tried silent protesting, that we've tried to just simply peacefully protest. And then we've tried to be angry, and none of those worked. So how can we say that voting isn't going to work if we haven't tried it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think what a lot of us don't do is that we don't really look into our history. Because if we really looked into our history, we would see that politics has always gotten us what we needed, one way or another. I truly feel like Malcolm, I honestly put them under the category as politicians, because what they're fighting for, that's politics. Like that. So you say, you don't.
Just because we didn't elect them into office doesn't mean that person that was an activist couldn't have been somebody that could have been lobbying for us, could not have been a representative for us, because they were social representatives. It's just that they were not sworn in. Yeah, they weren't sworn in, or they weren't. Yeah, but like, how can we get those people into office? Well, we have to go show up at the polls.
Yep.
You recently was telling me on Super Tuesday what happened. You want to tell that story?
Oh my God. So on the way, to the local elementary to go vote, unfortunately not for Bernie, but
yeah.
Or I'm sorry, no, I did vote for Bernie. No, that was Super Tuesday. I did vote for Bernie, but whatever. So on the way there, I see the Popeyes line, and the Popeyes line, it's Tuesday. So Black people and everybody else who eats Popeyes, that it's 2-piece Tuesday. So and there's this long line.
Those sandwiches are good. I'm not going to knock Popeyes. Those sandwiches are good. I don't eat those sandwiches, and you're vegan. So like I've eaten it probably a handful of times.
They look good.
They're good.
They look good.
They're good. They also, because I don't eat food like that anymore. Like I don't eat fast food is what I'm saying. I know that it's going to give me like a headache, and like my pores is not going to appreciate it.
I feel it.
But they weren't worth what you saw. They weren't worth the lack of show up, the lack of presence of our age group specifically.
No, there were, I saw some Black people out there, of course, but they were like in our parents' age group, they were in their 40s or in their 50s, and I really thought, because of everything I was seeing on social media, that we were going to show out. I kept seeing people post, oh yeah, I'm ready for justice, and we need this, and screw Trump, and this, that, and the third. But when it came time to actually act right on those ideas, no one was there. No one in our age group was there, and it's particular, no one African American, like an American descendant of slavery. When I say African American, was there. So that was very disheartening, because I think that's when I really, really understood, like, you know what, Lex, we haven't come that far along. Like I thought we had, at least politically.
And what's crazy is that my great grandmother, she died before Obama. She died the year before she could see Obama become president.
Wow.
Or even run for president. However, she was somebody that was an avid voter.
Right.
And so
someone who deserved to see
that. And then I say, well, I do it for them then.
Yeah.
You're talking about like in general, from the span of 1882 to 1968, 4,743 people were lynched. That is a lot of people.
Yeah.
That is a lot of, and majority of those people were Black. Majority of those people were my uncles or my aunties or my, great cousins that didn't get to continue their lineage.
Right.
That was the robbing of many lives from our nation.
Well, yeah, from our homes,
from a country that we built for free. Literally built this country for free. When I say built the country for free, I mean for 400 years.
Right.
You're talking about we were in the field building it from early, before the sun could even get up, to when the sun was crawling down. After the sun crawled down, we were working.
Right.
And we weren't free on July 4th, 1776.
Right.
We weren't free then.
No.
And so that's not my Independence Day, because I wasn't independent. I was not set free. I was not a human.
Right.
I was maybe not even considered even 3/4 yet that day. No, actually, no, we were. We were considered. That was when they decided to consider us as, 3/4 of a people. But you feel me? I was only 3/4 of a person,
which is definitely bullshit. Like, I don't know. America has a lot to atone for. That's what I said. And reparations. I know we're not on that topic right now, but reparations.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that let's talk about it. We need reparations. I don't know how to be more clear, and I think that anyone who doesn't think that African Americans deserve
descendants of the slaves that were here in America, who built a country for free.
Literally.
Those people who, and I told you this, if we go back to my mother, who did not graduate from high school.
Wow.
She had to work. It's because her mother, who graduated from high school, had to go work.
Yeah.
Because her mother, who didn't even make it to third grade, was set on the field to pick. Because her mother was not able to go to school because her mother was a slave. You're talking about, I'm the first person to really go to college.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it was made illegal for that last woman that I mentioned to even read. It was made illegal for her to read. And so how could she even know to, and I talked about this with my aunt, how could she know the importance of teaching her child to read if she doesn't even know the importance of reading? Right. If she doesn't even know how to read.
Yeah.
If she doesn't know, she doesn't have that access to America. We don't have the access that the full access of America like other people have, because for generations we've been set back. So that's 1000% why we don't need, or why we do need, why we should demand for reparations, why
100%.
Why it's okay for us to ask a politician, well, what's your Black agenda?
Yeah.
As I'm going to be blunt about it. What is your Black agenda? What is it that you're going to do for Black people? Specifically because for hundreds of years, we have been set back. Right. Okay. You know, I also am a part of LGBT community. I also am a part of, you know, my husband is Afro-Latino. My husband is also an immigrant. I do care about those things as well. I care about, you know, the world in general and people in general. But hey, what are you going to do for me because my needs have not been met at all? Because I don't have like the discipline to go to school. Well, like the quote unquote discipline that it would take to go to school, but that was because nobody was trained in my family to have that same discipline. Right. So, or nobody was trained to have to preach that importance. Yeah. Well, you know, my mom, and you know, in later years, you know, it probably was taught, but they didn't know how to fill out a college application.
Literally 100%. Yes, that's literally how it works in our community. Like, we have a lot of us are, you know, first to ever graduate from high school. I thought that was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. I hadn't really known a lot of people until, of course, I have my grandparents or my grandpa. He didn't graduate from high school, you know, but I thought maybe, it was just, you know, just how it goes, old school, you know, and I thought that was amongst whites and everyone else. But I think when you get older, you start to realize that our suffering is nothing. It's generational. That's why this is such a mess. That's why we need reparations. Just going back to what you said, maybe had your grandparents not have had to work on the field in the first place, right? Because they had their 40 acres and a mule. Maybe she would have had the time to go to high school. And she could have done that. Maybe she would have learned those skills to pass down and continue to pass down. So it just infuriates me to hear when people expect Black people to pick themselves up by the bootstraps when we don't even have boots. Right. Like, you know, and I'm not even saying, give me what I need. Can we just, or no, you're right. Give me the bare necessities starting off. You know, I'm not asking for Jordans. I'm not asking for a whip.
I'm not. And so it's really funny because then you pose the question, well, what form of reparations does it come in? Or does reparations come in? Yeah. Well, my aunt says education. What do you feel?
I like education. I think that education is a great place to start because they owe us so much money. That's probably what they can afford right now because, you know, if you have a credit card,
I love interest. The way you speak.
You know, we haven't even collected on our interest yet, but that's whatever. Let's go with education. I love it. Because education is important, right? Me and you can speak how we do because we've educated ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're knowledgeable, so we know what we need to do for our people. And you know, not only that, but just having an education for the workforce would bring more money into Black families, right? And help us bridge that huge wealth gap that we have between Blacks and whites. One in which we
don't have financial stability, and that is not our fault.
No,
we don't know credit, and that's not our fault. And people say, well, it's been generations since you. Well, the reason why it's been you're talking about generations of people not knowing, knowing what to teach. Nope. So that's why I just got to figuring out that I need credit. Right. That's why my credit That's why my credit looks like what it looks like. Yeah. I'm not saying, you know, I'm almost in the 700. You feel me? And it makes me proud,
right?
Because, but it makes me proud that I'm almost in the 700s and I'm in my mid-20s.
Right.
And it's like, but my friend over here, because their parents paid on their car when they were 16, they already at 800.
Literally.
It's literally how I feel. Maybe it's not always, that's not specifically the case, or that's, you know, for everyone. But that's how I feel when it comes to so many things. I'm set so far back because my parents don't even have credit because they don't even own anything.
Exactly. We own nothing in the country we built. Like you said, hey, Becky maybe not all the Beckys, you know, have their parents paying for their cars. Okay, but you have social capital being white, right? Capitalism comes in many different shapes and forms. Mm-hmm. So not only do Black people not have it socially, we just don't have any capital. That's just what it is. We don't have any money. We don't have any social connections. I know no one who works at Google. I know no one who works at, you know, we just don't have.
Not only that, but we don't own anything. We don't own any land. We don't own any real estate.
Right.
And you're talking about other people from different countries can come over. Well, you know, back in the day when they was giving out an acre and a mule.
Right.
We didn't get that luxury. We weren't able to ask for that.
No, we just till the land, and fucking, I guess, get whatever you get from that,
We're still working on life in a country that promises everybody else that comes to this country life, liberty, and happiness.
Right. On the backs of Black people is really what they should have just added. Life, liberty, and happiness on the backs of Black people. Because that's exactly what it is. You have immigrants that come over here. Hey, okay, whatever, join the mixing pot. Nothing against immigrants or immigration. But you have to understand they are different struggles. So what I would want is whenever this reparations bill goes through, because it will, and they're done studying and figuring out, really, I just need a bunch of accountants in the Senate right now to calculate how much you owe us.
Can you tell us specifically which, for the listeners that may not know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, guys. So there's a bill in the House right now, the HR 40 bill, and that's really where they're going to be, they're trying to submit it to where they can actually study reparations. So maybe how much it may cost, if we're deserving really of it. This is really what it is the United States trying to figure out if we're deserving of any atonement, really, right?
Which is really funny, because has America ever given reparations before?
Yes, to the Japanese after the internment camps, yes.
In internment camps, we're going to be back in, what was that, World War II. Mm-hmm. So with World War II, Japanese people were forced in they were concentration camps, let's call it what it is. Right. They felt like, the Japanese citizens, because the country Japan did, weren't our ally. They weren't against us. Right. They did bomb us in Pearl Harbor. So
75th anniversary.
So with that being said, that was another sin that this country, a mistake that this country made. And my grandmother's grandmother was raped in this country, and they have not paid for that. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that these people were put in a camp and they were treated awful.
Right.
But slavery is awful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to compare the struggle. Right. I'm just saying and. I'm not saying but. Right. I'm saying and. This is awful and this is awful. Give me my money.
Right. I think I'm going to be unfair. And add a but in there. I do think that the internment camps were awful, but slavery was worse. I am going to say that. And I think that anyone who really wants to compare the historical facts, I'm more than open to debating that, because there's no debate to that, right? I'm not saying that. And now, in saying that, were they deserving of their reparations? 100%. 100%. But
are we gonna lessen or take away from the fact that they had that struggle? Right. Are we gonna lessen the fact that they were treated as animals and not treated as citizens of this country? Absolutely not. But Black people have been citizens of this country for 400 years, almost 500 years.
I mean, we were here in Jamestown. Y'all brought some of us here with y'all to Jamestown, Virginia so we've been here since y'all wanted to start calling this place America. So I think that's why Black Americans, when you see us this enraged, is because we've seen y'all give handouts. And I want to say handouts in particular to white Americans in the 30s with the Federal Housing Administration loans. Blacks were not allowed VHA loans.
And so let's talk about those BHA loans.
Yeah. So what happened was, and I believe it was Roosevelt, FDR. It was FDR who passed that. During the 30s, when the Great Depression was going on, America was like, you know what? We have to save America right now. We're going under. It's like kind of what we're seeing right now with the stimulus checks. So they give out these housing loans to these Americans so they can start building their houses, right? White flight. That's when you start seeing suburbs pop all over the place. VA loans were around that time as well, right? There were a lot of social programs, Social Security, the VA loans, right, that were given to veterans, not Black veterans, of course, but white veterans, so that they could build their homes without having to really.
And that's crazy that we even have that. That people don't understand that there were Black veterans back then.
Yeah.
Back in World War I, there were Black people fighting for a country that just set them free not even 100 years ago.
Right. And nominally free at that, right? Free only in name. I mean, physical, and that's what's so funny. It's like this physical freedom, like I definitely will celebrate Juneteenth every year. Right? Every year. But I'm really waiting for like social freedom, right? Where you don't have to be anxious in Walmart. I'm waiting for economic freedom where I can buy whatever I would like in Walmart, right? So there's a lot of, we've been nominally free, really, for a long time.
Free-ish,
yes, free-ish.
We've been free-ish, and now we're still working on life. Like I said, my fear, my anxiety comes from the fact that can I jog in my community?
Yeah.
You know, I own a home here. Can I jog there?
Yeah.
With the deaths of Ahmaud Arbery, with the death of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and the countless others that have passed away, and it's surfacing in 2020. With this pandemic, with just everything, with what's going on in Portland right now, how do you as a person, like,
shout out to Portland. I just want to say that. Shout out to them.
Very beautiful.
They are not playing.
They're not. And it's really crazy that they're coming for them that strong. Yeah. That our America wants to, or sees that the war is on its own people.
Yeah. Literally, when you sit down, those troops, those are federal troops. Some of them did not have their name tags, or they were covered up. I heard they were grabbing people,
and they don't even know that they're. Yeah. I think it's really interesting when they say that, like, you go to jail for protesting. I don't at all want to ever go to jail ever again.
Right.
Mind you, I don't have any record at all. I don't have a history, so, but I wouldn't mind, like, that's my only arrest. Like, that's a kind of a cool arrest.
Right.
Like, okay, like, badass, because do I want that to happen? Absolutely not, because I would have to deal with the pepper spray. It's probably there's other things that come with it, but I would definitely tell my grandkids, hey, this is why I was arrested.
Right.
Because that badass woman from back in 2020. But
100%.
But with that being said, with seeing all of this, you really stay informed.
Yeah.
You really dig deep. What responsibilities do you feel that we as a people that want change have?
Okay.
We have responsibilities. Because like I said, we want change.
Right.
What is it that we need to do?
Okay.
Besides just vote.
So I really wish I had more answers than what I am about to give, because I haven't figured it all out yet, And
that's fine, because I think that we're all living in a time where we're just trying to figure it out.
Right. Okay. So what I would say, I think having conversations like this. I have conversations like this with friends, family members, and I think that sometimes there might be gaps in your logic. There may be gaps in my logic. And when you have those conversations, you open up that pathway to learn, to educate. And not only that, but I think it normalizes politics in our culture, because it's not normalized.
Woo! Let's say that one more time for the people in the back. Yeah. We need to normalize politics in Black culture.
Yes.
We need to normalize, I really need people to know what their candidates' views on policies and laws are, the way that they know Lil Baby's last album. Every single song. They was all nice. All the lyrics to Savage. Beyonce did her thing on that song, but I need you to also know, like you rapping them lyrics, what it is that Joe Biden is going to do for this country. Period. I need you, period. So
literally, period. I agree.
I feel that way, but do you have more other than just?
I would definitely say normalizing, politics in our culture. Voting, right? We already touched on that. And I don't know what else other than that, because like you said, everything is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Read up on your history. Read up on American history, because all of this is us. This is our history. And unless you know where you come from, you don't know where you're going.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Or what mistakes it is that you don't know.
Yes, right. Because they made them, right? Our ancestors weren't perfect. They've made mistakes. And guess what? Those mistakes are documented. You just have to go out there and go look for it.
Why do you think that we don't? Because, I think that we were fortunate enough, and when I say this, I was fortunate enough to move out of, of situations. Right. But where I come from, my dad spent almost 10 years in jail. Okay. I think it was 8. Yeah. And he was, I feel like his full sentence was actually 15, and then he had the rest for parole or whatever the case was. Okay. But I didn't grow up with my dad. Right. My mom, like I said, she got her GED. She got her GED at 24. Right. It's not like I'm just this privileged Black girl that just got to, no, I literally came from a single mother, and knowing that my father went to jail because he sold drugs. Right. That was my identity that I held on to, that I still hold on to. Okay. That is who I am. So, how those people that are angry, I still question, because I was once angry, but I still question, but why are we not showing up to vote? Why are we not showing up, period?
I think we just don't think that it's cool, if I'm being completely honest, right? I think that for some, and I understand why, I think just going back to mental health, I think a lot of the time we go out into the world, we try to be someone that we're not, right? Who do you see wearing the most Gucci, the most Versace, the most Balenciagas? Yes, I'm sure white people are buying it too, but it's really our Black rappers. It's a lot of our Black figures that feel the need to have to go out here and I'm this, I'm that. And I think that when you've been in a country who's told you that you are not this, and you're not that, you're constantly on your toes.
To try to be, to try to have,
you're trying to fit in. I would say you're trying to fit in. You're trying to show that I am just as good. And I think that what Black people need to understand is, unlike, our white people here in this country, they don't really have to worry about politics, right? Because the politics it's them. They've already built the system. Mm-hmm. They've already built the system. To benefit for them, yeah. Exactly. So if we're modeling ourselves after them, we're going to get it all wrong in the first place. So Black people need to realize that politics is everything for us. I'm sorry.
Everything is political. Yep. COVID, for instance, Trump said that COVID, they're trying, they're trying, the leftists, because, we're the leftists. The leftists are trying to make COVID, this thing, COVID political. That's what he said, literally. Maybe I can find a clip of it. Yeah. He said, the leftists are trying to make this thing political, but it is. Right. Because guess what? There are people that are stepping out with $1 million bills, literally, because they had COVID. And if it was cancer, then they would get stuck with that $1 million bill. Right. If it wasn't because of the pandemic. But even then, okay, you have this $1 million bill that you should not have to pay, because why? Because me as a leftist, I believe that healthcare should be what?
Free for all, or a right.
A right. It should be life, liberty, happiness, and free healthcare and education for Black people, specifically, but free healthcare for all.
100%.
Who is a citizen in this country? That's just how I feel. Yeah. Why? Because it's not right that they get stuck. Tagged with that.
Right. 100%. Especially those because people are catching it through your eyes. So let's say you're someone who's in quarantine, you've been doing everything right, you've been wearing your mask, and you just have to go to HEB one day, and you get it. So now you're stuck with this bill, and let's say you've been fired, so you've lost your private insurance. Who are you insured under now?
Not only that, but me as a leftist, I feel like our government should be helping or aiding those women, those people that can't go back to work because they have children that cannot go to school because why schools are not open. Right. Those people, what is that woman going to do? Exactly. Okay, yeah, it's not your fault that she had 2 children, but this woman worked. Yeah. And she never asked the government for anything. Right. She wasn't on SNAP. She wasn't on Medicaid. Right. She worked. She had a good job at, I don't know I was going to say a publishing company, but I feel like publishing could be remote. She had a job that, you know, doesn't require her to be remote. Okay. Maybe she was a bartender and she was making hella money, but now her nanny can't watch her kids. Why? Because that's closed. Or, you know, childcare is not available. School isn't available. So what is she gonna do? Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, this COVID thing is political. Everything is political, right? In a sense. And I think even it proves through what was Ice Cube from NWA, may I add, he said or was quoted in Straight Outta Compton, at least his character was, that my art is a reflection of my reality. Right. What does that mean? Yeah. Even hip hop in a sense is political. Even this even hip hop culture is political. Right. One thing that I really love is that people like Cardi B is normalizing it. We are finally having those conversations. We're finally bringing out rappers to have conversations with people like Bernie Sanders as she did.
I did appreciate Cardi for that, 100%. I was so
let's give snaps for her. Let's give snaps for her. Cardi, for really saying. Yeah, and I haven't seen anyone else do it. And Beyonce.
Oh, what did she talk? I didn't see.
Beyonce was pushing Hillary. Yeah, it was Beto, Hillary Clinton. Her and her husband have been. I like how I said her husband, even though her husband is a billionaire. Yes, I said that, Jay-Z. If you ever listen to this, shots fired. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, like that queen did, in fact, do that. Like they were, in fact, pushing that. Yeah. Nicki Minaj did. You know, she did kind of do her little subby sub against Trump's wife. I mean, people in hip hop community is making it or is trying to normalize it in a sense, but I feel like they also have a responsibility to do that too.
100%, because a lot of them are Black. So as a Black person, you already have a duty to fulfill. You know, so yes, I think
often they say they don't though.
See, that's funny. And sometimes I've heard pretty decent arguments, right? Where they'll say, "Well, we shouldn't be looking at our entertainers as politicians in the first place." I'm like, okay, bet. But guess what?
That's because they have a platform, though. That's like saying that's like telling a basketball player, "Shut up and dribble." Right. I'm not about to tell Kobe, rest in peace, to shut up and dribble. He specifically was the person that I saw wearing a "I Can't Breathe" shirt. Like the Lakers did that. Right. That is them using their platform before the game to say that. You're telling me I can't kneel? Okay, bet. I'm just going to wear the shirt. If you're enraged about me wearing the shirt and I didn't even say anything, then that's on you, brother. Right. And I have seen people in the NBA speak on it. Yeah. I have seen basketball players say, no, this, you know, I don't know. I'm not a basketball fan, but they were several of them actually were like, no, this debrief is going to be about Breonna Taylor and how we can ensure that her murderers were arrested. And that was it. They were like, I'm not going to answer any other question other than that. I thought that was beautiful. And yes, maybe you don't know, maybe you're not informed, but my guy, like
get informed.
So with social media being something that is almost toxic, I feel like we also as Black people, regular everyday folk, still need to not allow our feeds to be normal. I feel like my feed still needs to consist of me talking about current issues, not just because I'm into politics, but because my life is at stake.
Agreed. Yeah, literally, that's what it comes down to, is understanding that this is life or death. We should expect more from our entertainers, just like we should expect more from our politicians. It's, you know, anyone with a platform, you need to be doing the right thing. So yeah, I agree that I would definitely like to see more, you know, politics, I guess, going on in my timeline. Unfortunately, right, it's nothing but us trying to flex, and I get it, right? Everybody wants to show everyone how good they're doing in life. But I mean, when you're Black, it's like, come on, how good are you really doing, right? You having an apartment means nothing. You having, like, none of this means nothing, you know? And that's what I think really gets me upset, is a lot of the time these celebrities, they make it to a place where they're doing better than a lot of us.
And they're so forget.
Proud. They forget, and they need to understand that you are an aberration.
Like flexing on the gram is not your new Jordans or your 5 Jordans or or you buying retro Jordans.
Right.
Flexing on the gram is probably like getting a passport. Because how often do you see a Black person getting a passport? And I don't expect many people to understand how big of a flex that is for certain Black people. If obviously, if you're going to be first generation into this country and you're like, for instance, my husband, he has a passport, obviously, because that's how he got here. So my kid is going to have a passport because he's going to visit his grandma in Dominican Republic. If you're going to be first generation or even second generation here from Kenya or Ethiopia or, whatever it is, Nigeria, or whatever beautiful country it is that you're from, the Middle East, et cetera, then of course you're going to have a passport. And if you're going to be high middle class, why, of course, you at least went to a trip one time with your high school or in college to France or Europe. That's kind of expected. A flex for Black people, which is unfortunate. And when I say Black people, I'm talking about the direct descendants of slaves. It's not going to be a passport, and it's going to be because we are still working on. We're still working on simply having something. We're in a space of working to survive. Am I saying that there's no successful Black people? Absolutely not. You're listening to 2 successful Black people that didn't necessarily come from the best. But I have a passport, and I feel like that's a major flex. Like, that's the flex that I want to see. My friends have. I want to a hella big flex. Your college degree, baby. I want to see that. I want to see that sexy ass paper in a frame. I want to see your debt displayed. I want to see it. I want to see your little graduation cap and gown, baby. That's a big ass flex. Those are the flexes that I want to see. Not your fucking rims on your not on your Toyota Camry, 1995 Toyota Camry, baby. I don't want to see no rims on that. I want to see some other stuff. Like, I want to see. I want to see you self-love. Like, right. Like, I want to see. Clear skin. Like,
I know you guys can't see her face, but she has really clear skin. Jamie has really clear skin. I have to say that. Like, I can see your freckles today. And
thank you.
I was like, this is off topic. I didn't say it.
No, but like, for real, I really feel like that's a flex for social media.
Right.
And speaking of social media, what is yours? Where can we find you?
Y'all can find me at the.pretty.hippie, HIPPIE on Instagram. I will make a Twitter pretty soon because I've been told that's where all the politics are. So eventually I will be
Black there. Twitter is beautiful.
I hear.
Let's talk about that though.
Hilarious. I love Black Twitter.
So with that being said, guys, make sure you go follow my girl Lex, who is going to be the next Texas Senator.
Yes, man.
I promise you, like, this woman is going to, like, really just fill your timeline with all the good stuff.
Thank you.
So with that being said, I thank you so much for coming on here, though.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. This was really fun. Like, it just literally just felt like a conversation.
Ebb and flow. And I really want wherever, my listeners are, if it's in their cars, when they're cleaning their house, I want them to feel like that's what this is. It's, in fact, an ebb and flow. It's a conversation that they can join in.
Right.
Speaking of joining in, like I said previously, I did a little drop in, but you can always join in this conversation by going to anchor.fm.com and really leaving me a message. Like, join in this conversation. Be a part of Speaking Free. That's my little hashtag thing, by the way. Speaking Free. Speak free. Because that's what I always promote. So until next time, guys, like I said, speak free. While you can listen to Poetry, Prose, and Politics wherever you stream your podcasts, be it Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm does allow you to leave me a message so that you can join in on the conversation. You can also support this podcast with small monthly donations to help sustain future episodes. You can donate as little as 99 cents a month. Just visit anchor.fm/the political poet. That's ANCHOR.fm/THAPOLITICALPOET. Wow, that's a mouthful. And then click support. Lastly, don't forget to follow me. And you can find me on almost all social media platforms at Jamia Zarzuela. And as always, guys, speak free. Until next time, catch you later.